I consider myself to be a nice person. Oh, Molly Mormon here again. I've never been one to want to pull a perfectly healthy plant out of the ground. So when planting carrots and beets, I tended to just leave them all in the ground, and as time went by, they would just push each other out of the way. And the ones that were coming up out of the ground because they were all pushing for the same space, I just pulled them out and ate them as the season went on. And it didn't seem to ever be a problem. The beets tend to come up in groups no matter what you do. And I just couldn't bring myself to throw the plants away. So over the years, we left the beets and the carrots in the ground and onions and just let them grow. If you have a decent sized backyard, a suburban neighborhood backyard, is that how I'm trying to say it? You have a decent sized lot, you can grow an enormous amount of food. But even in a small backyard, or even by the side of your house, you can produce quite a little bit of food. We have a lady at church that has basically no backyard at all. Her backyard is a parking lot for her husband's office. She has little tiny bits of dirt back there and grows an amazing amount of food, amazing quantity of food. If you are able to can 20 quarts of green beans a week over a 5-week period, then you're going to get 100 quarts of green beans on your shelf, and that shouldn't be too hard to do. I have to give credit for this particular idea to Roy and Terry Lynn Stump. I learned it in their garden many years ago. And instead of planting one bean seed and then another bean seed and then another bean seed in a straight row 6 inches apart, they planted 3 bean seeds side by side, a couple of inches apart. So their bean rows were at least 3 plants wide, and I decided to expand on that idea. And I planted my beans in rows 5 plants wide. Then leave enough room between each row to walk through, and you're getting about 4 or 5 times the quantity harvest of beans that you would have gotten with a single plant in the row. There's no reason why you can't bunch them up together more closely like that. High intensity gardening is nothing more than making good use of the space that you have available to you. There are several other things that can be planted in concert with one another. There are people who grow their green beans up the corn stalk, pole beans up the corn stalk. There are all kinds of companion planting ideas. You can get books at the library on companion planting and then try to plant plants together that benefit one another. Lots of people use marigolds on the perimeter of their garden to help with pest control. We used organic pest sprays that we made at home, and I'll probably make a separate little video about that. I'm trying to think what else we planted. We planted a little bit of everything and tried to see how inventive we could get. We even experimented with planting peanuts in an area that it's impossible to grow peanuts, but we just wanted to see how they grew. There's no reason why you can't plant your cucumbers more densely. There's no reason why you can't plant your cantaloupe, your winter squash more densely. And I basically always ignored the directions on the seed packages because I was too frugal with my garden space to want to leave all that extra space. As long as you can tiptoe around them and harvest, there's no reason why you can't plant more in a more restricted space. I'm trying to think what else we did. Tomatoes may be one exception to that. I don't see why you couldn't plant 3 or 4 tomato plants close together. And I guess that's all I have to say about this topic right now. We always had 100 quarts of green beans on the shelf and always had a good supply of pickles and canned beets and pickled beets and fruits of other kinds and vegetable soup, and we just always had a great variety of produce. That's all I'm going to say right now. Molly Mormon. Have a good day. Auf Wiedersehen.